this is where the lynx was. And it walked right over through here. And it stopped in between these two trees and stood here looking at me, and then finished its way down the trail.
Before I get further into this video, I wanted to share a little bit about the greenhouse and our experience using a sprout box to create raised beds. We've had a lot of unsuccessful years trying to grow our own food in our harsh climate. We live in Zone 2B, so we decided that we wanted to attempt to build a year-round greenhouse that we could financially afford to heat using firewood. We have an outdoor wood boiler, and we were already using that to heat our house and our water. And this year, that wood boiler now heats this shop space here as well as the greenhouse. When we were building the greenhouse, we knew that we needed a sturdy material for the garden beds that would not break down in a consistently warm, humid environment. We also knew that we needed something that could also be used outdoors and stand up to our harsh winters. So we discovered Sprout Box, and we've been using them for about 2 years now. So these beautiful green beds are from Sprout Box. They create garden beds for a variety of circumstances, whether you're trying to grow food for your family or you just want some pretty curb appeal. Their beds come in a variety of colors, shapes, sizes, and depths. They have a 100-day money-back guarantee right now, and they're offering our viewers 10% off with the code WILDWOODS10. I will leave the code along with their website in the description of this video for anyone who might be interested to check them out. For February, we had a Valentine's Day market, and if you're new here, my name is Ashley. I have 8 kids, and we live on a homestead in northern Alberta. We also make and sell our own handmade products, and these are products that I have been making for the past 10 to 15 years, and I started making them because I had some really bad health problems, and I just found that everything I was using, I was constantly reacting to. One of the first things that I started using 10 years ago was tallow, and originally I rendered my own tallow, and we consume it, we use it in cooking and use it as skincare. I also have used it as bum cream for all of my babies. But as I started making and selling more, I knew that I just could not render enough tallow, and I just could not find enough time to also do that. So I knew I had to outsource the tallow. And this is something interesting doing this business. I'm learning so much about business, but also about sourcing materials. I found this online soap ingredient company, and they sold tallow in bulk, and I got so excited. So I thought, wow, that's easy. So I just ordered a ton of it. And when it arrived, I found that it had 3 ingredients in it that were preservatives, and they were linked to hormone issues. So I wrote the company, I returned the product, and I just knew that that is not something I wanted to offer my customers. I wanted to give my customers exactly what I was making for myself, and that is product that actually helps me out and balances my hormones and helps my skin. So this gorgeous whipped tallow balm is made with a grass-fed tallow from a ranch here in Alberta. Their cows are pasture-fed and pasture-finished. The tallow is absolutely gorgeous, and I whip it up with a few other ingredients. I have a coffee and vanilla and a geranium and frankincense. For balancing hormones, I use this on my face, my hands. I will even rub some of it on my thyroid. And I will leave a link to this product in the description of this video. Years ago, we lived in a townhouse, and I had 4 kids, 5 and under. We were also saving for land and building our homestead. I was homeschooling, and I found it just so difficult to get out because we lived along a highway and we didn't have a yard. It was sort of a busy area with traffic and stuff, so I couldn't just open my doors and let my kids out. Also, just with the extreme temperatures that we have in winter, it wasn't always safe to take a baby outside. So I found myself getting into sort of this seasonal depression as the days just sort of blurred into each other, you know, white, snowy, cold winter, and it just felt like the winter just dragged on forever. And I kind of had like an epiphany where I thought, you know what, I am so tired of just gritting my teeth and bearing winter. I'm going to do what I can about it. Now, I've never had a budget for decor, and I'm glad about that because the older I get, the more I really like having less. I don't like to have a lot of stuff in my house. To me, it's just more that I have to pick up. So I made these garlands 10 years ago, and I decided to keep them when we moved into our homestead because I made this tradition in the townhouse where as the months changed over, we would take the decorations down from, like, say, you know, some Christmas ones in December. We would put up some snowflakes or pine cones for January. And then when we moved into February, I would take those items down for January. And it was kind of like okay, you know, we got through January. We enjoyed ourselves. We tried not to just wish away the time. We try to enjoy the time. And then now I would put up these, you know, little garlands to signify that we were then into February. And it sort of just helped me create a space that I enjoyed being in with my kids, and also just helped me to encourage myself to look forward to spring and being able to get outside, and also just looking forward to our land, because we did own it, but we couldn't afford to build our house yet. We were doing a self-build, so we had to go through quite a bit with the bank and having so much money. So it was a difficult time, and these little decorations, these little pops of colors, they mean more to me than just a decoration. It was just sort of a like a promise of looking forward to the dream that we had to raise our kids out in the country on land in a house that we built. So I wanted to share that in this video as I was getting ready for this market. And the next product that I am just showing is this lotion bar, and it is tallow based as well. I love this lotion bar. I always have one of these on my kitchen sink, and I use it after I wash dishes. I use it on my hands, on damp hands. I also will use it, I have one in my bathroom, and I use it as a lotion bar for my body, and at the end of the day I will use it on my hands and my face and my lips. It also has cocoa butter in it. It has vanilla and orange essential oil, and it just smells like a delicious heavenly bar of white chocolate. I absolutely love it. Packaging is really important to me because the more orders we ship, I've always been a little bit nervous about how are these products going to get to the customer. I really want the customer to open this up and have something beautiful where they feel like, okay, I'm really happy I spent my money on this. So I wanted to figure out a better way to package these, and I just used some tissue paper and cotton to just create it a more secure packaging in those tins, and I was really happy with that. Here's the bar up close. The bars are a little bit bigger than that. I was just using a little bit of leftover product, so I would have a little bar to use, and I will have a link to those in the description box as well. As we grow and sell more, we have found that we need to actually have an office space. So our basement, which is not finished, part of it has become this sort of curing station for soaps, and then we have a little shipping center, and I have my laptop set up there so that I can update inventory and do any work on the online store that I need to. And then we have a finished product shelf so that when we get orders, we can just get those packed quickly. And I'm sure that that space will continue to improve as we grow and learn more. And then my daughter just took a little bit of footage of the market that we were at. It was just a small market in a city 30 minutes away from us. And I love doing these markets with my kids because they put some of their own items out on the table. And because we homeschool, we view this as an extension of homeschooling. This gives my kids the opportunity to get out and talk to a variety of different people. They get the opportunity to explain themselves, explain what they're making and why they're selling it. And I love seeing how my kids have all just sort of, come out of their shell, made mistakes, had awkward moments, but stumbling through it, they get to the other side of it and they learn and they get better and better at it. Over the years, as our family grows, I have been thinking about the book Cheaper by the Dozen, and I listened to it on Audibles a few times actually because it's so relatable. I love how the parents are both efficiency experts and they decide that they're going to have 12 children as a way to increase their efficiency, basically, so that they can help others out. And I can't remember all of it, but the father, that's one of his jobs, is that he helps companies become more efficient, and he literally sets his life up as a lesson for himself to learn to be more efficient. And I completely related to that because the more kids that Geoff and I have and the more that we put into our lives as we can, like with the homestead, providing for ourselves, being a little bit more self-sufficient when we can, and then building this online business, we're constantly looking at the situation and going, okay, how can we be even just a little bit more efficient? And then when we get better at that, we'll learn another area that we can be more efficient at. So unpacking all of these products, originally it would take me about 6 hours to do that, to get everything put back on the shelves properly, to get the online store updated. And with this market, we decided to, again, look at the situation and see what are the little areas where we're taking too many steps, where we could be taking 2 steps instead of 10 steps, for example, and set it up a little bit differently. And it took me 20 minutes to get all of this back on the shelves, to get the shop updated. And I was thinking about that book, Cheaper by the Dozen. If you haven't read it, I would definitely recommend it. It's such a charming book, kind of a sad ending, but I relate to it so much as a mom of 8. The day after our market, we had a baby shower, and I really wanted to take the time to put together a gift and attend the baby shower because actually this time last year, the mother who had the baby, we watched her get married, and that was really special. And so we wanted to bring her something and just meet her new little baby. So I gave her some things that I make, and I wanted to share this little bunny right here, this little organic cotton bunny. Lucy makes these bunnies and she puts them out on our table at markets. She tends to sell out of her little crochet critters fairly quickly, but I have encouraged her to start putting them up on the shop whenever she can. But I just wanted to take a few minutes to pack this little gift and showcase that adorable little crochet bunny right there. I have never been that good at meal prepping. It is something I've always struggled to get organized with. So I think it's really funny that I've really honed in on this with the help of my family, just as we've started this business and started doing markets and I have less time in the kitchen. And my oldest daughter, Lucy, she's so efficient and she's so good in the kitchen, and she's really good at prioritizing, about knowing what to prioritize. And she's come up with this sort of weekly schedule where she'll take some cabbage and carrots and she'll make a big coleslaw. And this is something that I started doing over the summer and she sort of took over. because she also uses the cabbage to make a big borscht soup. And I've never had borscht until she made it. If you're not familiar with it, I think it's originally Russian or Ukrainian, maybe German as well. I'm not entirely sure. But it's just this really delicious soup. It's kind of earthy flavored because of the beets, the cabbage, carrots, onion, potatoes, and then we will use ground beef in it. So what she will do is she'll cut up all the cabbage and she'll make a big coleslaw, and with that big coleslaw we'll have that in the fridge, and we will just pull that out throughout the week to add to our lunches to make our lunches quicker. So we'll just have a little bit of coleslaw and some boiled eggs and cheese, or we'll do salmon patties. That's what I grew up eating, and that's what we call them, salmon patties. They're just like little salmon burgers, or tuna or some other meat or something like that. And we'll just always have that coleslaw to pull out of the fridge and add to our weekly meals. My other daughter, Sophie, she'll make a dressing for it, and we just use this Chosen Foods mayo that we buy at Costco. She'll add in a little bit of organic sugar or honey, some apple cider vinegar, some olive oil, some salt and pepper. I think she put some other spices in there, maybe some dill. This year, Lucy took a ton of dill from the garden and washed it and dried it. So we have a lot of jars of dill, and that's been really lovely this winter to add to things like coleslaws and soups. There's some of that garden dill right there. And it is just becoming a really nice thing to have each week. And then Lucy will take the extra cabbage that she doesn't use in the coleslaw, and she'll just put it into a Ziploc bag for the following day whenever she makes her borscht. For Valentine's Day, we decided to make some coconut macaroons, and I can put the recipe in the description. This is just a recipe that Lucy found online. We have been eating gluten-free, so we wanted to find some recipes that did not require any sort of special fancy flours. So this is just a really easy macaroon recipe, and it's basically just butter, sugar, eggs, and coconut. I think there might be some baking soda in there, maybe a little bit of salt and vanilla, but she made these with her little brother because he wanted to help her make something for Valentine's Day. And if anybody's cooked or baked with toddlers, you know that it can be a little bit messy. And so Lucy promised him that on Valentine's Day she would take the time to include him in making these lovely coconut macaroons. And I just wanted to mention too that this part of the video, the coleslaw and the cooking in this part, my girls actually filmed and edited, and I really enjoyed taking their edited portion and adding it to the filming that I did. So these videos are a culmination of myself and my kids filming. Sometimes Geoff will film a little bit too, but sometimes I'm not even there for the filming process, and it's been so fun putting together what I do, like where my creativity comes into the video, and then mixing it with my daughter's creativity and what they capture, what they think is important to capture in their filming process. Over the years, being a mom of 8 kids and being a mother now for 17 years, I have found that kids do not need very much to be creative. I used to think that I wasn't doing a good job if I didn't have all of these resources in the house for my kids to be doing maybe like more involved arts and crafts and stuff like that. But over the years, I have found that I think kids are more creative with less. And so just having some construction paper and some markers and some scissors, the sky is the limit. I think it challenges their brain a little bit more, challenges them to be a little bit more creative. So on this day, my kids were just making their traditional Valentine's Day cards for their grandparents. They were using their handprints to trace out their handprints and cut out some shapes and some hearts, and we did some snowflakes because that's a memory that I have as a kid, is making snowflakes. Even though I did not grow up in a place where it snowed, but I still remember making snowflakes with construction paper in all sorts of colors and putting those up on the window, and I really liked that. I love that I live now in a place that snows, and every year we will make some snowflakes to put up on the windows. My daughters decided to make a chocolate sauce to dip the macaroons in, and they thought it would be fun to try to make their own chocolate with some cocoa butter. I wasn't out here for a lot of this, but I think what they did was just some cocoa butter and heated that in a makeshift double boiler, and then they added in some cocoa powder and vanilla and salt. And at first they tried organic sugar, but I guess it was really grainy, and so they couldn't get all of that organic sugar to melt in that double boiler. So they ended up adding all of it to the blender with a little bit of milk and some honey, and then they blended it until the blender got hot, and so it was able to melt all of that, the sugar, and just mix all of the fats together. And then with the milk there, and it actually turned into this really pretty chocolate sauce, and they just dipped the top of the macaroons in that, and that was our Valentine's Day treat. Okay, so here is the borscht that Lucy likes to make, and I've actually never made borscht before. It was just something that she came to us and said that she wanted to learn how to make, and she made a big pot of it one day, and we loved it. So we decided to add it into our meal rotation for the week. And borscht is described as a cold weather soup, and its base is beets and cabbage. She put some tomatoes and onion in there, and as I had mentioned in the beginning of the video, we use ground beef for this. We've also used ground deer, and more recently we tried ground yak, which I've never tasted yak before, and I didn't think I would like it, and I really loved it. And it's actually something now where we're actually considering raising yak for meat up here because it's a cold, hardy animal. So that's just a little side bit there that we are thinking about as we build our homestead and figure out what we want to raise and what we can raise. But anyway, this is such a delicious soup, and it's so easy. There's so many different recipes out there, but I can write in the description the veggies in the recipe that Lucy makes. She kind of just makes it from memory and based off of what we have, but definitely the base is a meat of some kind with those nice earthy root vegetables like carrots and potato and beets, and then some cabbages, and she puts some tomato sauce in there and some apple cider vinegar, and then we just top it. Traditionally I think it's topped with sour cream, but I don't like the sour cream that's at Costco. It has some other ingredients in it that I don't really want to feed my family, so I just buy this really thick organic Greek yogurt. We use that in place of sour cream, and then she sprinkles that with a little bit of dill, and it is so delicious.